アンソニーとしても知られているザ・スーパービッラン、マイケルとしても知られているザ・ミラクル。ラッシュダウンレビュー。ディスガイア5アライアンス・オブ・ベンジンス。
The last few games have given me a lot to hope for because it seems like each game just expands upon so many great features the last game had, and so I have high hopes for Disgaea 5 in seeing what they can bring new to the table and seeing what they can do to change some of the things that have been here since the first game. Have they made things better? Have they made some features worse? Well, I'm here to tell you all about it in this review. Alright, so let's start with the story. It's made clear from the beginning that there is a war between all of the different nether realms in this universe of Disgaea 5. Huge, bloody, just outright terrible war. All because of the conquest of the overlord Void Dark, who so far has shown that he is the strongest demon in existence. He's taken over all these nether realms, and of course there has to be a rebel alliance to stop him. Now we have this motley crew of overlords that have all been somehow wronged by Dark Void, and our main character, Killia, who is just a guy bent on revenge. Very vaguely so. And the story itself, you know, usually when I play this Disgaea game, there's like a huge twist or something. And while I must admit I didn't complete the entirety of the campaign yet, I can't feel as though there's a whole lot of twists or anything. And that may be at the fault of the characters, which I can't say I'm a fan of many of them. Disgaea is known for very colorful characters, very deep characters, very likable characters, with a couple of them not so likable, but even they have some redeeming qualities. No, not here. The main offender is Seraphina. She is just obnoxious, she's insufferable, I can't deal with her, ugh. Killia, while I can't say there's much wrong with him, I mean, he feels so one-dimensional. He's struggling with all this hatred, all this anger, and all he wants to do is revenge, while holding down this deep-seated power within him. My favorite character so far has to be Red Magnus, who, while he isn't very smart, he's at least enjoyable. He brings some personality to this colorful, quote-unquote, cast of these main characters that I'm not a big fan of. And maybe that's my own fault because I haven't finished the campaign. But the whole, even the little girl with the yellow printy, she's a child. She's a child who for some reason thinks of random things like how to combat global warming. I mean, they're okay. Not the worst cast of characters ever in RPGs, but I will say they are the weakest cast of the Disgaea series. That I will say next to 3 and next to 4. I have to say that when I play this, it feels as though I just got a new phone and I'm looking at a lot of bloatware. That's what a lot of these features feel like. Some things like the research for the Netherrealm material, I don't even understand what that's supposed to be about. All it seems what I do is I take units I could be using for battle, send them out to research netherworlds, and I come back with prisoners and items that are usually pretty crap. Prisoner system. It's such a waste of time. I mean, you get these people who surrender to you and you interrogate them through this incredibly repetitive and pointless minigame, and you can either have them join your team, join your Netherrealm, or use them to become items. It's just, why? That it's such a time suck. It doesn't seem to make much sense to me, And the quest system. The quest system is one of the biggest offenders of this because it takes what you do in the game already and vaguely rewards you. So sometimes it gives you items, gives you money, but this is also the main way you have to unlock your classes now. Before, you would just say power up a Valkyrie, power up a warrior, and you get the magic warrior. That's not how you do it, but I'm just using it as an example. Now you have to go get the quest, accept the quest, do what the quest requires you to do, turn in the quest, and then you've earned the trust of the class you want to go through. Or sometimes you just straight up unlock it. Monster classes are just as ridiculous. You accept the quest, it ranges from anything from kill X amount of this class to give me this one specific item, and boom, there you go, you got your class. It's just, why? And what they did to the item world is probably one of the biggest changes I hated. So in the item world, typically, as you go higher through the levels, your enemies get stronger. Instead, now, as you go higher, your enemies might get stronger. I went through 20 floors of one item before an enemy went from 2 to 3. 20 floors. It's a lot of grinding for nothing. It was just, why? Why do that? A lot of the things they changed about the way you play the game just had me asking why. Although some of the changes they made weren't so bad. I mean, they brought the cheat shot back, and now instead of using mana for creating characters, you use money, which means money comes in more supply, which means you can buy more stuff. And now you can use mana to call the Dark Assembly so you can do more things to gain the trust of the classes you want to unlock. Or you can use it at the Ability Shop to power up your skills or buy abilities. Now this shop is the number one offender of one of the changes I hate. Typically when you use a skill, particularly your ice, fire, star skills, as they power up, you gain more range and you gain more positions. Not here. Instead, you only gain more range. If you want more formations, you have to buy them. You have to buy formations for the spells that you use, and it is such a pain. Which means now you have to grind to get more range and to get enough mana so that you can hopefully get the diagonal formation or the formation of 3 of them in a row. It's just so mind-numbingly aggravating, and it makes you want to go to the creators and ask them why do this. Ugh. Although not all, as I said before, it's not all bad, because I feel like I'm ranting. The core gameplay is still as great as it's always been, and now they've introduced the revenge system where if you take damage, you give damage, or your enemies kill your units, you gain revenge meter, which powers you up. For normal units, it gives them nothing but crits, and that's really it. You get a higher crit factor as far as I remember. However, if you're an overlord, you get what's called an overload skill. It can range from giving you stat buffs to inflicting ailments upon your enemies. It's a nice touch. However, what this means is that you're going to be having a whole lot of overlords on your team. And that to me seems a little weird because, as I've always understood in these games, overlords are the most powerful demons of the nether realm. So to have a bunch of them on your team seems to diminish that idea, but that may just me be nitpicking. So you can take that to heart if you want. That may be me just having yet another gripe with this game. This is going to be the shortest portion because the audio visuals for Disgaea have always been great in my eyes. Well, not the voice acting so much. The music is Disgaea-y as it ever gets, except for the netherworld pocket that you call your home base. That song is so traumatizingly annoying once you know what the lyrics are. So I'm warning you now, if you play this game, don't even pay attention to the lyrics or else you're just going to hurt yourself. Voice acting wise, my complaint is Killia. He sounds so bored. He sounds so plain. It sometimes makes you just want to go to sleep. And for the NPCs, the lost, quote unquote, in this game, they all sound the same. They all sound like they were voice acted by the same 3 people. As for everybody else, good job. Good voice acting. Can't really complain about anybody else. And I really love the voice of Rag Magnus. I love his script. I love the person who voice acted it. Go that guy. Other than that, not much to say. They've been using the same graphics since Disgaea 4. I've loved them since Disgaea 4. So, it looks like Disgaea 4. Take that as you will. I think it looks great. I mean, they spruced up the menus and everything, but I mean, sprites, graphics, all that stuff looks the same as it did in Disgaea 4. So, there you go. All in all, Disgaea 5 isn't terrible. Is it the weakest of the Disgaea franchise? I will say yes. It was even weaker than Disgaea 4, which I had a few problems with. But this game has made me ask, why would you do that more often than the game should? The way it's done the item world, character creation, that messy research and interrogation and character creation, quest system, all that stuff. It all just feels like bloatware in a phone, and that's not a good comparison. The core game is still good. The story is enjoyable enough that you're not going to get bored. The voice acting is good enough that it isn't going to, make you want to scratch your ears off or switch it to the Japanese track. But that's really all it feels like. Things are good enough that you keep playing it. And you want to find a conclusion like you would in any game. It's good enough to keep you going. But for this Gaia game, I am sorely disappointed. I can't say anything else besides that. I hope that the next game, because I'm sure there will be a next game, doesn't make a lot of these design choices permanent and that is only for this game. And I'm not one of those people who say, oh, I want the old ways back. Some of these changes are welcome. I don't mind having to use money for character creation instead of mana. But this all just seems like a lot of roundabout. That all said, I'm going to give Disgaea 5 Alliance of Vengeance a C. A lot of its systems have changed way too much for the worst for me to say anything greater than a C, but it's still a game that I would say you can play, though I wouldn't say buy it day one. This is Anthony, and if you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, comment below and I'll be sure to get to you guys. Other than that, I will see you all later.